here with Morgan from Blackwater Drowning.
Yes,
Um, to start with, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. Um, well, we're here mostly to talk about your upcoming new album,
Yeah.
Obscure Sorrows.
Yes.
You've already released a couple of singles like the past months. I don't know, how do you feel like the responses have been for now?
I feel like they've been really positive, and I'm really excited to see what people think when we release the full album. But everything so far has been overwhelmingly positive, and it's really been awesome.
Yeah, that's good to hear because I believe that for this album you've kind of changed up quite a couple of things in how you wrote how you wrote your new music and recorded and so
Hmm.
on, right?
Yes, so we recorded this entire album by ourselves, except for drums. We did go somewhere to get live drum recordings, but we recorded mm, the bulk of it by ourselves, including vocals and everything. And it was a kind of cool organic process because of that.
Yeah. I believe I read that like you used to kind of um like puzzle things together a little bit, while this time you're actually kind of sitting down like together to write the songs in real time.
Yeah, and
Um
that definitely did happen a lot this for this album. It was very
mhm.
the most collaborative effort that we've had so far.
Yeah. Um, does it does it feel kind of to you that kind of really changed like sort of the energy in the room or the energy in the songs after like writing it that way?
I think so. It just feels more together because when
Hmm.
you're doing more piecemeal things, it by nature of you wrote this, 5 years ago and we're bringing it back in, whereas opposed to we're writing it all together right then, it's a lot more cohesive. It just goes together better.
Hmm. Did it also kind of like um writing that way did it kind of uncover like certain like I don't know unexpected strengths in the band or like creative things
Yeah,
that you yeah.
because when you're writing like that, it just creates a lot of space to be like spontaneously creative. So you think of things in the moment that you may not have thought of otherwise.
Yeah. And well, was there like someone that kind of became the kind of natural sort of editor in the group that kind of like held the
Yeah,
reins in some way? Yeah.
Jeremy's always the guy for all
Hmm.
of that. He's kind of our big composer of the big picture and comes up with his own ideas, of course, but he's definitely like our editor. He was the one also doing all the engineering.
Hmm. Um, talking about the kind of the engineering and like the recording it mostly at home. Um, does it kind of like did you end up like being a little bit more I don't know experimental with the song that way or like more kind of self-critical like recording it that way?
Definitely more self-critical. Because we tried something, be like, that's not it. And because another advantage of recording at home is you're not on the clock for studio time because it's very expensive and that we are starving artists. So it created more of an open area to create as we're putting it down because we could just redo it. We're not, it's just time at that point. We're not paying for that extra studio time. And our goal previously, whenever we go into the studio, is to have pretty much a polished, finished product when we got there. So we're not just like wasting time, but doing it ourselves definitely allowed for more freedom there.
And like that being kind of self-critical, did that ever kind of for like certain songs or one specific
Oh
song kind
man,
of
we are we are such a self-critical bunch
mhm.
just by ourselves. So when we all get together, I feel like we're pretty quick to remove weaknesses in the writing.
And was there ever a moment that you felt like you were going like a little bit I don't know, too nitpicky, so to say?
Definitely, there's definitely some of that where you listen back and you're like, wow, I spent so much time for this little teeny part. And you have to kind of like pull yourself out of the trenches in a way to be like, look, we'll come back to that if it needs it. Just let's not get caught up on things that end up being not that important. I mean, it's all important because even just like little parts in songs make such a big difference. I feel like, especially when I'm listening to stuff, it's the little tiny details that make me remember songs. So I try to keep that in mind as well.
Um, I believe that this time around you also kind of compared to earlier work, kind of expanded your sound somewhat by like adding a little bit more like symphonics and such.
Yeah, we added a
Um,
lot of orchestration this time.
yeah. Um, but you kind of wanted to do it without like abandoning what you guys like stood for at that point. What were for the band kind of like the non-negotiables, the elements that really had to stay?
I think for us, we always want to keep it heavy, but we always want to have a counterpoint of good melody as well, because melody is what is accessible to people, and that's what grabs an average listener ear. And while we are a niche sound by nature, it doesn't mean that we don't want to be appealing to. Let's face it, as musicians, you try to appeal to a bigger audience so you can maybe actually do it for a living someday.
Um, and like doing like things a different way, adding some new elements. Do you kind of feel like this album sort of represents a new era for the band, or more like a sort of sharpening of what was already there?
I feel like every time we release a new album or EP or anything like that, we are tightening our focus of what we really like to do, and like just funneling our all of our creative energy into a kind of sound instead of, because you start when you start out in a band, I feel like you have all these influences and you don't really know who you are, what your identity as a band is yet. And I feel like every album we focus our identity more and more.
Yeah. And like everything that you've sort of done new now or in a different way, um, is all of that kind of a foundation for the band, like how you're gonna move forward, or are it like elements that you feel like, maybe we can drop that or like change that in the future again?
I definitely love the direction that we're going now. We brought in like a little bit more hardcore elements because some of that's really fun, and it always gets a crowd moving. I mean, it's hard not to mosh to some of the hardcore stuff. It's your feet just move by themselves, and I love that energy. And I want to do. I think my one thing I would like to do in the future is maybe a little bit more singing. I love doing harsh vocals, and I always want to keep songs that are only that. But there's just so much out there musically that I feel it would be a waste to not explore more melodic options as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like I've been listening to the album a couple of times like before this, and like you said, there's a couple of nice moments where that kind of energetic, bouncy, hardcore vibe comes in, but then also those like clean vocals that you've been using, like it really adds like a nice, I guess, dimension you could say.
Yeah, and that's always been when I first started this band, that was what I wanted to do was everything. I'm like, I want to do all the things. Like I want it to still be cohesive and make sense, but I want every element that we can put into music. I don't want to be constrained by a label of like we are only death metal and we only do this. I want to do everything.
For you as a vocalist, was using or singing a bit more on the album, like the kind of main thing that you sort of did differently on this album, or was there like something else that you kind of tried out that you're kind of really happy or proud about it, like how it turned out?
I would say on this one, I really focused a lot of my screams in kind of a mid range that I haven't done as much of before. I feel like I did a more high focus with because it just feels more powerful. But we tried to dial it back in and get like some good meaty mid lows. And I worked hard on getting better low lows because as a woman, it's like the biggest hurdle to get by, I feel like, at least for me. But that I was really proud of, and hitting some cool high notes and stuff singing is really fun too.
Um, as I'm not sure about it as a vocalist. Are you the one
Mhm.
that is writing most of the lyrics as well, or
Yes, I write
yeah?
most of them, at least a framework. And if I'm
Hmm.
stuck in places, Adia, our bass player, and I will team together and kind of work through it, or we'll come up with concepts together. And she is a huge part of writing melodies as well because she just hears it. She's one of those people that just hears the melody.
For this album, well, the title is Obscure Sorrows, kind of suggesting about kind of like deeply personal things. Is like that kind of your main source of inspiration for like writing lyrics, like personal things and such, or
Yeah, it was definitely so originally we had an idea for this album that it was going to be a concept album based around like folklore tales. And some of the songs are that way. And then they kind of also we brought in other ones that I'm like, it doesn't say that this is a folklore story and I don't want to force it because that always turns out weird. So it's obscure sorrows, the concept, I guess, of it is just it's like a feeling that you don't really have a name for. And you have all these feelings about things that are going on in your life, but you don't really know how to say what it is. And so I put down a bunch of words saying what I felt in that time and various experiences that I was living through when I was writing it. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if it makes complete sense because it's a feeling more than like quantifiable, I guess.
well, it makes the title of the album make total sense.
Yeah.
Um, mm, when fans or well new people discovering you guys with this album, kind of hopefully listen to the album front to back.
Fingers crossed.
um, yeah, because it's not that's not really a given anymore nowadays
No,
that
it's
people
not.
listen to a whole album.
Hmm.
um, but when they do, what kind of like let's say emotional journey do you hope they kind of come away with or like go through?
I hope that people come out of it feeling, I guess, empowered and like amped up. I want it to be like good workout music and like get you ready for your day, ready to face whatever you have going on in your life. And some of the songs have even become that for us personally. Like Eye of the Storm, it's one of our pump up jams when we need to do something. I guess
Well,
I just want it to be inspirational and positive for people, even though it's dealing with some heavy and sometimes not positive um, subject matter.
yeah, though I feel like people that listen to this kind of music kind of often seek for that kind of thing
I know
and
I do.
are often I don't know, maybe going a little bit more healthy through life, being able to listen to music like that.
Yeah, it's definitely
um
cathartic.
yeah. Now for this album you also worked with a couple of quite big names in the scene, you could say. Where Christian Donaldson was like producing the album, I believe.
Yeah, he mixed and mastered the whole
Hmm.
thing. He did an amazing job. Our guitar player Ron had recorded with him before in a previous project, and obviously his body of work speaks for itself. So it was a no brainer to go with him.
And what was there like something that he brought to the album that kind of like challenged you guys or like basically added something that you didn't like think of?
I think it just the way that he mixed it down and everything, it was finally the metal sound that we were going for without losing our melodic side, which I know that he's worked with a lot of bands that kind of do stuff like ours, like formerly the Agonist. Um, he did a lot of work with them. So I'm like, okay, so he knows kind of what we're going for. We want the heavy and melodic, but still keep the metal.
Yeah. You also have like a couple of guest solos on the album.
Yes, I'm
And they
so excited
felt
about
kind
those.
of very like I don't know, very deliberate and kind of very distinctly like chosen for those songs or those moments. What made like the guys that you work with kind of like the right voices for this record or those songs specifically?
So Ron is the master at researching people, and also he just knows people from past tours. So with Yo, he had been following him on Instagram forever, and he does features on songs. And we're like, well, that's a great collaboration to have because he's insane. And then with the other one, it just all melded together so nicely. It's such a vibe. And we had Brian Kingsland on our last album do a solo, and we really like that. So like on this album, we're like, we want to do more. And it just, I mean, Allegiant is amazing, and we were so excited when he agreed to do it.
It's also always cool to see bands bring in like um guests on their album, but it's to me at least especially exciting when for once it's not a guest vocalist because that's
Yeah,
like the
it's
typical
the
thing to
go-to.
do.
I do want to do that at some point, and
hmm
I find it hard to write something for someone else, and I guess sharing that in a way. Not that I'm opposed to sharing space with another vocalist, but I want it to make sense. I don't want it to feel just like, oh, we put this feature on there so that we would get tagged with them. I want it to make sense and go together.
And kind of going a little bit on that, what would be for you like kind of dream vocalist to work with on a song?
Ooh, that's hard. I would
Mm.
love to work with like Randy Blythe would be amazing. Um, Kiara Jansen from Nightwish, she's incredible. And Speed from Soilwork.
Yeah, those are pretty good choices. Because all in their own right, they're all amazing vocalists and artists. So makes
It's like
sense.
a wide range.
Uh-huh. Um, well, after releasing the album, I believe you have already like a couple of shows planned, right?
Yes, we're doing a short run with Butcher Babies right before we release the album. And then after, we're doing a 10-day run with our buddies in Filth. And then in May, we're doing a run with Infected Rain as well.
Those are all pretty cool tours that like that I had already seen in your releases.
Yeah.
Wish I could have dropped by at one of them. Alas, it's a
One
bit
of
too
these
far.
days.
Yeah. Um, I'm guessing you guys are hoping to someday make it like across the pond.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely always been a goal because I feel we would do really well in Europe.
Yeah, I think so too. That's also partially why I kind of really wanted to talk with you guys because I feel like at least where you are right now with your new album, like it really has a like holds a lot of I don't know, the sound feels like it would really speak to a lot of people over here. So
Yeah.
hopefully there's a lot of people that pick you up now with the album.
That would be
That
great.
would be that would
Hey,
be
if we
great
can get
indeed.
good numbers, then we can make a case for actually budgeting to make it happen.
Fingers crossed. Um, all right. I think I'm about there. Um, is there anything at all that like you would like to like say still to whoever ends up checking this interview out?
I hope I didn't bore you and that you found my interview interesting. And it's it's always so it can be so awkward doing video interviews sometimes, and being in a band, you kind of, especially as a front person, you just have to get over it. But I actually really enjoyed this. Been a lot of fun.
Good, good. Good to hear that I didn't bore you either. But yeah, lots of luck with the album when it comes out. Hopefully, like I said, a lot of people end up picking it up and really liking it.
Well, thank you. I hope it does well. Fingers crossed. You
Yeah.
just never know.
All right. Thanks for the talk.
No problem. Thanks for having
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.